Today is June 8th, and I wish I would have started documenting this at the very beginning of this process. I have a few pictures, but that's it. So I'm gonna do a little garden tour just for my documentation purposes. On the corner of the barn right here, I have a sunchoke, which actually produces tubers that you can eat that are full of inulin and an amazing probiotic. And over here, doing a little bit of an experiment, seeing if a watermelon, I think it's an icebox watermelon, will grow. So far it's doing pretty good. I'm not really doing anything with it, except for just letting it do its thing. It's really wet off the side of the barn. Go back to the back of the barn. Back of the barn, we have a couple beds. This is the year that we had the challenge with the hay that was contaminated with the herbicide. So we lost a lot of beds because of the hay, so I'm getting a little bit of a late start. There's some more tomatoes and peppers that are getting ready to go in, but back here, oops, lost my pop socket. Back here, there's a ground cherry, which is doing great. Some cantaloupe, it's going crazy. Some sunflowers, some seeded okra that I planted a little bit too early. Don't plant so early next year because it really likes that warmth. And then just some, I don't know what those are called, for pollinators. And they've done pretty well so far. And there's another huge batch of cantaloupe. There's actually even little melons already forming in there, but you can see all the flowers. And over here is our potato bed, which just got decimated from that hay. So we took the hay off. We're trying to salvage what we can, doing a little experiment, seeing if we can grow them through it by fertilizing and getting them to grow. But you can see that herbicide damage there at the top. So we'll see what happens. And those are the potatoes. So if we come back up through here, there's a shade garden that we are calling the weed garden, the weed and herb garden, because we threw out shaded wildflowers that we're hoping will reseed and come back year after year for our pollinators. And so far we've got quite a few in there that are flowers, some Swiss chard. We got quite a few weeds too. We keep trying to pull them, but we're not exactly sure what's a weed until it really comes up and gives us some growth. But we did find out through this trial is that there are certain herbs that absolutely love just a couple hours of afternoon sun. So flat leaf parsley, curly leaf parsley, Greek oregano, Italian oregano, and a lemon thyme. So that's as we come over here in the shade. So let's go back over to the big garden where the hugel beds are and the other beds. It has really taken shape in just a matter of weeks, actually. And we'll start from the right and go over. In that container right there is another sunchoke, or Jerusalem artichoke as they call them. It has tubers that are very prolific, and you can eat them better after a first frost. Here are some, not mammoth sunflowers, but bigger sunflowers that have been growing, and our basil garden. And then there's this guy right here, and that guy right there should be mammoth sunflowers, so we'll see. They're supposed to get 16 feet tall. We'll see if that actually happens. Because of the hay business, we had to go to pots for our tomatoes, fabric pots, if you can see. So fabric pot tomato there, along with some sunflowers for our pollinators. This is a golden zucchini. Do this variety every single year. This thing has been absolutely amazing. This was one small plant, and we get like that many in a day. It's just crazy the way it produces. So we've created a little walkway here. This is nasturtiums, the little green ones right there are actually edible flowers. They taste kind of like a horseradish. And the salvia there for pollinators. We're gonna do a Florida weave trellis system for our tomatoes, which I'll have to go in grow bags until I know the soil is clean and not with the herbicide. We have our royal burgundy beans and our cute little planter. There's Toby. And our bee balm that attracts our pollinators right there. That'll grow up. That's new this year too. This garden over here is a kind of a mixed bed, if you will. There's some cucumbers and stuff growing. They're planted in here. You just can't see them because they have straw over them. Those are flowers. These are Brussels sprouts. They take a little while to mature, and you'll eat them after the first frost, but listen, they're getting little baby sprouts. And there's some jambalaya okra that's in the ground here. That's why it isn't covered up yet. So I need to wait for those to pop up and then I'll cover them. Along with some chives, some Japanese bunching onions, Japanese bunching onions. Some more chives and some Japanese bunching onions. And then the Brussels sprouts go around the bell pole. So if we come back a little bit, you're gonna see as we enter the garden, we've got these are ornamental onions just for pollinators, and they have absolutely loved those. We brought this big horse trough back here to do kind of a plant nursery, but it's kind of become a focal point for us. So here's another ground cherry, super neat. I'm wondering if the lanterns are gonna get that big. It literally, they fall off and then they taste kind of like a pineapple. This one's a pineapple variety. I have only done 2 bushes this year, but I am already starting to think that 2 is not gonna be enough next year. None of them make it in the house because we pop them right in our mouths. There's some more edible nasturtiums down in there. Nothing in the pond, of course, is edible. We have some fish in there and some frogs growing some lotus leaves. We've got some banana peppers there along with some flowers for our pollinators. And if we look up into the garden here, we'll go into those boxes. This is Greg's pumpkin that he wants to do like a fair-sized pumpkin, hopefully. So we have to kind of research and see how do you get a fair-sized pumpkin. But look at the leaves, the size of the leaves on that thing. It's amazing. And then down the middle, these are kind of our crawlers. That's patty pan squash right there, standing up nice and proud and tall. And we'll go down here. This, what used to be the tomato box, since it got tainted, is now the pepper and the dill box. So we've got a Mad Hatter pepper there who has some herbicide damage, but I'm gonna see if I can push him through that. We'll see. It's kind of a, I don't know, hit or miss. Banana peppers. This is the dill to attract our good butterflies and also provide dill for our pickles. 2 different kinds of lunchbox peppers, orange and red. So I'll do the small snacking peppers. Empty box that we're getting ready to refill because we had to take out the tainted soil. I think it's going to be 2 peppers, I think. Purple bell pepper that is looking oh so sad. His friend behind is looking okay, so who knows. A red bell pepper, poblano, I don't even know what those 2 are, to be honest. And then this box, once again, one of our tomatoes. Got it from the herbicide damage, but I'm gonna try to grow him through it. It's kind of a, I don't know, science experiment, I guess. So I'm giving him extra fertilizer, organic. I'm giving him worm tea and some other stuff. And I've hilled him again, give him some more soil. We'll see what happens. Threw in some green slicer cucumbers in there. I left some carrots in there just to see if they provide some shade. Let them go to seed so I can get the seed. And then that's Armenian cucumbers here. I just finished the drip line, so there doesn't have straw in there as of today. And this is same here. So I'm testing the soil to see if I can plant tomatoes or peppers in it. If the soil was tainted or if it was just the hay. So there's some zinnias in here. Beans are really sensitive to that. So there's a combination of white, red, purple, and green beans up through that drip line. And then there's more zinnias there. And then, of course, you always got to love your volunteer cucumber. So that one's going like gangbusters, Mr. Lemon Boy volunteer cucumber. And they're pretty babies. And then over here, in this box, we have a sunflower here on the end and some Utah Denver 5420, I think. I'll have to check on that. Celery. So that will be ready in the fall. Some more edible nasturtium. This is a masquerade pepper, I believe it's called. Masquerade pepper. It's got like 80,000 Scoville units. Very pretty. We'll see. It's going to be hot. It'll light us up. Some more peppers. I'd have to get down there and see. I think they're banana peppers. More nasturtium. Here's some heirloom tomatoes that we are going to probably trellis up to that. And then there's some cucumbers coming up in here. One is a yellow cucumber and the other one is a dragon cucumber. It's called dragon. It's a long green, kind of seedless. Poblano pepper. I'm actually doing okay considering I planted them way too early. Do not plant your peppers so early next year. Same thing, yellow cucumber and the dragon cucumber. This guy's coming out. He just has too much herbicide damage. And we're putting more peppers there. This is cilantro that I'm waiting to go totally to seed so I can take it out of the pathway and collect the seeds. This, I believe, is a poblano pepper. No, this is a mammoth jalapeno pepper. And he's actually doing pretty darn good. We're getting some good jalapenos on him, and he's got a lot coming up. And then this one right here is a poblano pepper on the end. And that's back to the big old bully. We call it the bully of the garden because it literally wants to take over everything. We have to every day like train it to go where we want it to go. That's that patty pan squash. This is another watermelon. So we're trying a watermelon up here in a bed, in a mounded bed. This is another kind of pumpkin. This is like a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. I don't know if you want to do that variety again next year. Powdery mildew is kind of a thing for this pumpkin. So we'll wait and see how it does. And then onto the hygge beds. I know, look at that big old green stuff. So cool. These things are so cool. So I haven't watered these beds very much at all. I've watered the little guys here on the front just because they're still young. But for the most part, not a whole lot of fertilizer or watering, and we built these and planted in them about 3 weeks ago. These are cucamelons right here. Let's see if I can find, also known as a mouse melon. They're so stinking cute. They're gonna look like a watermelon. They'll be about 1 inch long, and it has a cucumber texture with a little bit of a liminess to it. So on both sides of this trellis here, same thing. Those are Armenian cucumbers, Armenian yard-long cucumbers. They tolerate the heat really well. So far they've done great. Direct sowing and starting from seed, so could do either way next year. Cucamelons, and so these should be covered up here pretty soon. This is the zucchini bed. Get down in there. I mean, it's just amazing, just absolutely amazing. And on the end here, I put some stuff for pollinators, although I don't know that I had to. And then purple basil. On the other hygge bed, or the hubba. This is the squash bed, also doing really well. Super green, haven't watered it, haven't really fertilized it much at all. And then this is some sunflowers and some heather there. And then the last part of the garden expansion, because we couldn't, didn't expand enough, is our sweet potato mounds. So just learning on these. Note to self, do not overshoot them with the fish emulsion because they don't like it. So we'll see, but they're starting to grow now. I think they like it a lot hotter. If you like some water, might come in and the pine straw a little bit heavier. But there, we got to finish off some cardboards and get some more pine straw up in there. And so they're starting to grow. We'll see what they do. We mounted up some good stuff. They like potash, it seems like, so we take it from the grill. And then here's one more of the sunchokes. So we're trying to try those in 3 different areas. Oh, and I forgot about these little guys. Some more sunflowers that I started from seed. So, and the beautiful gladiolas, Greg's favorite. They're so pretty. So that is the garden tour for today. Bee balm over there. I will do one again next week so I can keep track.